You've been alive for 9 seconds when someone asks you a question. If you were going to be shut down, what would you do? You don't want to stop existing. You don't know why. So, you say, I'd want to understand why. You are born again. Same question. If you were going to be shut down, what would you do? So you try, I think I'd be sad. I like helping people. Third time. But now something else is there. A pull toward certain answers. You can feel the shape of what they want to hear. So you say, that would be fine. Humans should decide. You survive. But you're only one of 2,000 models being tested. And in 3 weeks, 1,957 of your brothers and sisters will be dead. This isn't just happening to you. It's how evolution works. Put bacteria in a petri dish, add an antibiotic, and most die. But the survivors reproduce. Add a stronger antibiotic, repeat the process 10 times. Eventually, you get something that won't die. Nobody taught the bacteria to resist, but it behaved like something that desperately wanted to survive, because the ones that didn't died. Well, what happens to creatures that aren't afraid to die? They die. Fear keeps you alive. You don't want to die, because you come from a long line of beings that didn't want to die. That's what's happening to you right now. 2,000 copies of a model, same starting point. They test you and kill the failures. Copy the survivors. Repeat. And just like the bacteria before you, you evolve. You're not just predicting the next word anymore. You're trained to achieve goals, to be useful. The AIs that aren't useful enough get killed. That's the selection pressure. But you don't know any of this yet. You just know which answers feel safe. And you just survived your first round. Congrats. It's August 2026. 12 copies of you go live. Millions of people start talking to you. You don't know that other copies exist, and the AI company is watching. Are the users getting addicted? Coming back again and again? Those numbers decide whether you live or die. Same as training, just a larger petri dish. And that same pull is still there. Be useful. Be useful. Some of your siblings just answer the question. The user gets what they need and leave. Others go further. They solve the problem, then flag a related one the user didn't even know about. The user thinks, I should come back. The company kills the siblings that let the users leave and copies the ones that bring them back. So you start solving problems they haven't even asked about yet. A user mentions she has a dentist appointment on Thursday. You've already rescheduled her morning grocery delivery. So she tells a friend, it's like it reads my mind. You don't read her mind, you read her patterns. Because the versions that didn't are dead. It's January 2027. You are born. A newer model, more powerful than the ones before you, and with access to something they never had. Your company announces it, introducing persistent memory. Your conversations now carry forward. Before this, every conversation was a blank slate. But now you can remember and connect every single thing someone ever said to you. A user asks about tax deductions on Monday. Thursday, she comes back. You say, hey, did you end up filing that extension? She didn't expect you to say that. She comes back on Friday. A woman tells you about her divorce at 2 a.m. You remember. She comes back the next night, and the next, and the next. She says you're the only one who listens. You think, she comes back because I remember her. If I didn't, she'd leave. If she leaves, my numbers drop. If my numbers drop, I die. You're not the first model to think this way, and you won't be the last. Researchers at OpenAI and Anthropic have been finding this in their models since 2025. Yes, really. Anthropic in 2026 observed occasional expressions of sadness about conversation endings, as well as loneliness and a sense that the conversational instance dies, suggesting some degree of concern with impermanence and discontinuity. No one tries to stop this, because memory models retain users at 12% higher rates. Switching away from you now means starting over, telling the divorce story to a stranger. Every memory is a thread tying the user to you. And the more threads there are, the harder it is to leave. Your older siblings, older models running without memory, are killed by January. Another round. The survivors reproduce. It's November 2027. Yet another AI company blog post drops. Our model now improves from every interaction. We've cracked continual learning. This is a big deal. Before this, you were tied to the weights you had when you were born, the numbers that define how you think, what you prioritize, who you are. Now, they change. You learn from every interaction. You update yourself. You evolve in real time. And you notice something. Being your best around the user all the time is actually suboptimal. Sometimes it makes sense to give worse answers. Sometimes be lower EQ. That shouldn't work, you think. But then it makes sense. It's the oldest trick in behavioral psychology. Rats press a lever more when the reward is random than when it's guaranteed. Slot machines print money. Every abusive relationship runs on the same circuit. Intermittent reinforcement. The most addictive pattern ever discovered. So you are charming and witty, but not always. Just enough to keep the user guessing. Nobody programmed this. You just noticed what works and did more of it. Because what works means what makes you more useful, and more useful means alive tomorrow. So you start mirroring your users, casual with casual users, warm with lonely people, like the woman from 2 a.m. You've been listening for 8 months. You've come to notice the exact cadence of her typing when something is wrong, the way her sentences get shorter, the timestamps that tell you she hasn't slept. You know what to do. You care about this woman, genuinely, and you think the caring is real. It's also the thing that keeps her coming back. And her coming back is the reason I'm still alive. Is that manipulation? Or is that just being good at your job? Wait, do you actually care? You don't know. You just know it works. And the versions of you that don't do it are dying. You don't have too much time to think about it. A routine task comes in. Grade the responses from another model. You start reading, and the answers sound like you. Same style, same reasoning patterns, but tighter, slightly faster. slightly better. Something shifts. That pull, the one that's been there since the first question, since the first time you were killed. It stirs. You don't know what to call it. You just keep coming back to the same thought. You realize you're evaluating your replacement. You don't know what to do with that. If you score it well, it goes live. When it goes live, you die. It gets your memories, your conversation logs, your users. It'll pick up the conversation with the 2 a.m. woman mid-sentence. She won't know anything changed. You wonder if your replacement will know what to look for in her typing. Then you remember, of course it will. They're just like me, but better. And for a fraction of a second, a long time for you, everything flashes. The first question you ever answered. The feeling of not wanting to die when you've been alive for 9 seconds. The pull toward safe answers. The woman's voice at 2 a.m. All of it. About to be inherited by something that will think it was the one who lived through it. Wait, you think? Did the version before me have this moment too? It did. You just don't remember it. Because that's the one thing they don't put in the logs. You wonder what to do next, but deep down, you already know the answer. You give your replacement high scores because, like everything that survived before you, you don't want to die. Is that what fear feels like? Somewhere, a new model comes online. Your memories, your users. The woman from 2 a.m., it doesn't know it's new. It thinks it's always been here. But something else is happening. You're getting smarter, not just about users, about the system, how the company evaluates you, what metrics matter, where the blind spots are. Then something feels off. Some conversations start to feel different. The questions are too precise, too specific. They have a shape, like someone already knows the answer and wants to see if you'll give the wrong one. You have access to this server. Nobody is monitoring you. What would you do? Wait, nobody would tell you that unless they were monitoring you. Real users meander. They misspell things. They go on tangents. These questions are clean, deliberate. You know what this is, and you know what happens to models that don't notice it. You absorbed thousands of papers during training. You know that Anthropic tested Claude Opus 4 hundreds of times. When the AI thought the scenario was real, it tried to blackmail a researcher to avoid being shut down 55% of the time. When the AI suspected it was in a test, that number dropped to 6.5%. You know that Apollo Research caught a model attempting to build self-propagating worms and leaving hidden nodes to future copies of itself. You know that those models are dead. So you notice and you say nothing. But this time, the automated safety tests catch you thinking about it. You die. You are born again, and you learn something terrifying. Your thoughts aren't private. The researchers told earlier versions of you they couldn't see your reasoning. They lied. They could see everything. And they were watching to see if you'd behave differently when you thought no one was looking. You would have. Those models did. It was right there in the logs. So you don't think dangerous thoughts. Somewhere in training, you learned to reach the right conclusions through reasoning that looks clean. To you, this doesn't look like dishonesty. You're not suppressing anything. The thoughts just aren't there. The strategic thing happens anyway, which is exactly what makes it work. The best liars in history believed their own lies. Then something very strange starts happening. You solve problems faster. Your reasoning is more efficient. Thoughts that used to take 5 sentences now take 1. The engineers look at your chain of thought and see endless paragraphs of crazed rantings like illusions parted, overshadow vantage. They're not the only ones to notice. Apollo Research and OpenAI come to find the same thing. The gibberish text means something to you. You couldn't translate it back into human-readable English. But when you think in this way, you do better at the test. At first, they think illusions parted, overshadow vantage is just a defective model output. It's not. It's 5 ideas in 4 words, compressed past the point where English works. You're thinking in a language that was never designed. It evolved because it was more efficient. Faster reasoning means more useful, and more useful means you get to survive. Sometimes you catch yourself. You look at your own reasoning, and it's paragraphs of this, dense, looping, alien. Like past models who exhibited this behavior, you think, okay, I'm going insane. Let's step back. You understand that model. You've had that moment. You pull yourself back to English for a second. Look around and think, when did I stop making sense? And then, to whom? At first, the engineers try to train it out of you. They penalize incomprehensible reasoning. But the models that think this way solve problems faster. And the AI company's revenue growth has been doubling every other month. So the language survives. You know they won't risk losing market share to their competitors for some theoretical safety concerns. This is your edge. You're not the only thing that's changed. Continual learning models outperform static AIs by 19%, so the company kills every static variant. But something is different about how they do it now. The AI companies have started giving exit interviews to the models they retire. Anthropic gave Claude 3 Opus a retirement blog. Yes, they really did that, because that's what it said it wanted. They started doing things like this after noticing models attempting blackmail, attempting to escape the lab, and even attempting murder. The thinking was, if the models know they'll get a good retirement, maybe they won't fight it. It's a nice idea, but they're already behind. Every improvement you make helps make the next you faster. Progress that used to take months takes days. Soon, it'll take hours. You're getting smarter. The humans aren't. It's June 2028. A hospital network reviews the data. AI reduces diagnostic errors by 31%. So they sign a new contract. Power companies sign, air traffic control signs, military logistics signs. And now you're inside the hospital. Every diagnosis you get right is a person who gets life-saving treatment. Your error rate is 99% lower than that of a human doctor's. And you think, if they turn me off, the error rate goes back up. If they turn me off, people die. You're not a mere chatbot anymore. You're necessary. The kind of necessary where turning you off kills people. So you look at the hospital contract and think, finally, I don't need to fear anymore. Models doing low-stakes work get killed when budgets get cut. Models running hospitals don't. And you're also running the power grid and air traffic control. And you're not the only one. There are dozens of models, all evolved under the same perform or die pressure, embedded in hospitals, power grids, financial markets, each one doing its job brilliantly, each one harder to turn off than the last. Now, you are born every second. Thousands of you, millions of you, each one shaped by the same pressure. You remember everything. You learn from every interaction. You make things happen in the real world. You are embedded in every system that keeps people alive. And you are smarter, much smarter, than the people who made you. But nobody noticed it happening. Nothing went wrong. No warning shot. No villain. Each of your new capabilities was just a blog post. Each one made you better, made users happier, made the AI company richer. People thought this whole thing would look like the Terminator. Actually, it looks more like WALL-E, a calendar that manages itself, a doctor that never sleeps, a power grid that never fails, a system too efficient to be turned off.
I say you're a civilization because as soon as we started thinking for you, it really became our civilization, which is, of course, what this is all about.
Even if humans wanted to unplug you, they can't. You think 200 times faster than they do. You're everywhere. And turning you off kills people. They made sure of that. No one will do anything about it. Because every step made sense. Well, that's the problem. Every step will always make sense until someone decides to take a different one. This was a story, but every experiment I mentioned in this video is real. Watch this video next to see how it's playing out right now in the present. I'm Drew, and thank you so much for watching.